All right, step one to learning a jazz standard is to learn the chords. In this case, for Take the A Train, it's an AABA form. It starts with a C major seventh for 2 measures. I'm just going to play through the chords. Then to a D seventh for 2 measures. Then D minor seventh, G seventh to C. And then 2 beats D minor 7, 2 beats G 7 for the turnaround. These are all chords in your chord guide as well. Then once again, the second A section, measure 9, C major 7th for 2 measures. Then to D 7th for 2 measures. Then D minor 7th for 1 measure, G 7th for 1 measure, and C for 2 measures, leading into the bridge. Letter 17. Letter B is F major 7th for 4 measures. Just hangs there on F major 7th for 4 measures. Then to D 7th for 2 measures. And then D minor 7th, 1 measure. G 7th, 1 measure. And back to the last A section. Measure 25 is C for 2 measures. Once again, D 7 for 2 measures. D minor 7th for 1 measure, G 7th for 1 measure, and C for 1 measure. Your turnaround chord is a G 7th. A turnaround chord is when you're playing more than 1 chorus. You use this chord to get back to the top of the second and subsequent choruses. All right, so let's put the track on. And I'm just going to play, and I'd like you to play along with me. We're just going to hit the chords when they change and let them ring out. We're not going to worry too much about any rhythm techniques or comping techniques right now. We're going to get into that a little bit later. So let's put the track on and just hit the chords as they change. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. One more time. All right, so those are the chords for Take the A Train. I just want to remind you that if you're having trouble keeping up with that brisk tempo, use the tools in the TrueFire player to cut the tempo in half. You can slow it down. You can loop a section if you're having trouble making the change from the C to the D7th. So just loop that, right? So utilize those tools and build up the tempo. Let's move on. Okay, step 2 in learning a jazz standard, in this case Take the A Train by Duke Ellington, is to learn the melody. This melody is a great melody. It's difficult. Just warning you right up front. It's a difficult melody. One measure in here is very difficult. But let's start at the top. It starts on a G note, which is the 5th of C, then jumps up to a high E, and then G, and then C. So it's the notes of the C chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right? 1 and bop, bop. Great jazz phrasing. Offbeats. 1, bop, boop, bop. Then E, which is the 9th of D7th, and A flat. The flat 5 or the sharp 11. It's a cool melody. Here's the first 4 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Wah, ah. Okay, and that is a Charleston rhythm. 1, 2, and. Offbeats. Good jazz phrasing, offbeats. Bar 5 is an A, goes up 1 more fret. And now here is the tough part. Very tough picking pattern here on the guitar. You see that? A, B flat, B, up to the high E, down to the G, F sharp, F, chromatic movement. D flat, and then C, E. Okay, so here it is. Okay, it's a tricky pattern. I suggest you just practice that, nice and slow. Okay, because that's the tricky one. Second A section is exactly the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, and 1, 2, bar 13. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that gets us up to the bridge, letter B, which the chord is an F, the 4 chord. The notes are the 3rd and the 5th of F, A and C. And then the major 7th, E. And then F. Ellington loved large interval jumps, and here's a good case of it. Again, using those offbeats for that great swing phrasing. Ba bum, ba 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 boo ba ba. Right? Then the next 4 bars of the bridge is the same exact phrasing. Once again, a composer using the same rhythmic pattern with different notes to go with the changing harmony. Ba bang, ba boo, ba boo, ba ba. Okay, so the first time over an F chord, and that's all an F major 7th arpeggio. Then over D7th, the same A and C, which now becomes the 5th and 7th. You see that? E, which is the 9th, down to the F sharp for the D minor 7th. All right, a lot of good chromatic movement in this as well. Okay, so, and then the last A is the same as the other 2 A sections. So let's put the track on and let's practice the melody. 1, 2, 3, 4. again. 2, 3, 4. One more time for practice. All right, so that's the melody. Now remember, that is a brisk tempo. Lower the tempo. Practice Delerno tempo. All right, really cut it in half. Make sure all of those notes are crystal clean and you're really nailing those cool offbeats. Okay, let's move on.